Because what Putin is doing is he's trying to reach out to have dialogue so that we can find a solution to this problem. And interestingly, the only person in our entire infrastructure of leadership is ex-President Donald Trump, who's continuously calling for an end to this war. Everyone else is all in on this war. The United States is all our leadership, not the American people, which in polling seem to be about 75 to 80% against this war. I mean, who cares about the people? You know why nobody cares about us? We're not in the room. We're not in the deal. We need to get into our political parties and enforce our will upon every level of our parties, from the very local committees to the county committees to the congressional district committees to the state committees. We have to let these people know throughout the whole infrastructure of politics that we don't want to die in a nuclear war. That's not a very well-being outcome. And unless we stand these people up and pressure them, they're going to get us all killed, because this is a confrontation within which the United States government has gone all in. And why have they gone all in? Well, we've always had the U.S. dollar hegemony since the end of World War II. Kissinger cemented that with the petrodollar arrangement. Commodities, particularly oil, are traded in dollars. And as we've continued to print dollars here, because we have a little problem, our outgo exceeds our income. And these leaders continue to deficit spend. They spend money we don't have. So we either borrow the money by selling U.S. Treasury bonds, and when we fall short of that, they just create money out of thin air. It's called counterfeiting. And what that does is it expands the money supply, and that creates inflation. So the dollar is progressively getting to be less valuable. And we're confiscating people's money. Let me just go into how this has worked so against the interests of the United States, because the people that are running the show are stupid. These are stupid people, or they're corrupt people. I'm going to leave it to you to figure it out. They're either very stupid or very dangerous, and there's some of each. So when the Russians invaded the Ukraine, the United States placed powerful, what we thought was powerful, economic sanctions upon the Russian Federation. And actually, the ruble went to almost zero like that. And it went down and it bounced up like a Super Bowl, because the Russians have something very, very valuable: natural resources, like $100 trillion of natural resources. And they're allied with the Chinese, and they're allied with the Iranians. That's called the Iron Triangle: Russia, China, Iran. And why is it the Iron Triangle? Because it is conceived to be an alliance that can never be broken. It's iron. So when the Russians invaded the Ukraine, which we've talked about the truth of the Ukraine, it's my opinion at the Professor Penn podcast that Western manipulation of the Ukraine led to the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. And these sanctions were put on, these economic sanctions were put on, and they failed. They failed to hurt the Russian Federation. And our government, in its great wisdom or corruption, as the case may be, confiscated some $300 billion of Russian Federation assets held here in the United States in dollars. They took their shit away. That would be called piracy. When you steal somebody's goods, it's piracy. The business model, piracy. So when they took that money away, which are dollar-denominated assets owned by the Russian Federation here in the United States government took it away. Everybody said, wait a sec, wait. Why are we working in dollars when the U.S. government, instead of honoring its role as the world reserve currency with a very transparent and predictable legal system where people's goods and assets are not stolen through piracy. Why are we dealing with these people? They're stealing our shit. Okay, when you take people's things away from them, they will find an alternative. And we've actually driven Russia and China and Iran through these types of sanctions to develop their own financial infrastructure and to develop an alternative to the US dollar. And they're actively seeking to depose the dollar as the world reserve currency. Saudi Arabia, for example, has announced publicly, oh, interestingly, at the last World Economic Forum meeting, that they will now accept Chinese yuan, RMB, their currency, in payment for Saudi oil. We're unraveling here now. The post-World War II democratic liberal order is unraveling. So that dollar was always backed up by the U.S. military. Always. There was always this implicit, hey, if you don't play ball, we'll kill you. Pirates, always have that kind of background. If you don't if you don't give us your goods, we're going to board your ship and kill all of you. Sometimes it just boarded and killed everybody anyhow. So we threatened, it didn't work, and now they've gone all in on this military adventure to back up the hegemony of the U.S. dollar. And nobody's backing down. And let me tell you how deep it goes. This is cultural warfare at the level of faith. This is far beyond politics.